Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Breaking News. We will bring to you latest updates on politics. Migrants' caravan has no signs of stopping. This is the current situation, according to Mexico's Universal. Will Trump continue on his punishment of cutting it, or there will be other way to deal with it?
Why the 2018 midterm elections officially take place on November 6. Plenty of voters will cast their ballots ahead of time thanks to early voting. Early voting laws are supposed to make it easier for people to get to the polls, but like other attempts to expand voting access, they've often become yet another partisan battleground. In 1980, approximately 4 million ballots were cast ahead of the election. In 2016, more than 47 million people voted early. A response to the caravan crisis is quickly becoming a key issue for voters. Democrats have long supported near unchecked immigration, even offering their own cities as sanctuaries for illegal aliens. Now is Trump's chance to prove that he can both tough and fair on immigration. America's eyes are on the caravan, and whatever Trump does will certainly make headlines. After Barack Obama's campaign gained a commanding lead in early voting in 2008, though, some Republican-dominated state legislatures limited early voting for 2012. Efforts to limit early voting are still underway in North Carolina. There have also been other objections, such as that citizens wind up making their choices before they have all the information. With early voting in multiple states already, you're likely to hear more about it in the days and weeks to come. What's happening, what it means, who it's good for. Early voting can be a misleading indicator of who will actually win the election. But the fight over whether it should be expanded is far more important, part of the broader battle about how easy or difficult it should be to vote in America. Michael McDonough, an associate professor at the University of Florida, an early voting expert, explained in HuffPost in 2017 that when the United States was first founded, voting was held over several days, so voters in rural areas would have enough time to go to the polls. The federal government set a single day, the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November, for voting in 1845, but during times of war, military members have been allowed to mail in ballots, and gradually, everyday citizens have also gotten that ability. McDonough explains, in 1980, California pioneered the modern resurgence of early voting by lifting the requirement that a voter provide an excuse to vote by mail. Since then, California and other states, mostly in the West, have innovated permanent mail ballot status and all mail ballot elections. Any qualifying voter can request and cast a mail ballot in their local election office. Meanwhile, in the East, Florida, Tennessee, and Texas extended in-person early voting to special state-lined polling locations in 1996. The federal law setting an uniform day of voting still stands, so why is early voting legal? In a 2001 challenge to Origin's no excuse absentee voting, a federal court ruled that the election must be consummated on election day. As long as elections officials don't count votes until election day, early voting is legal. Voters are increasingly taking advantage of the ability to cast their ballots before November. In 2016 election, about one-third of total votes were cast early. Early voting turnout so far in states such as Texas or Florida this year indicates it could be higher in 2018 than in midterm elections past. Casting a vote before election day can carry some risk. FBI Director James Comey's decision to reopen the investigation into Hillary Clinton's use of a private server and his announcement 2 days before the election day that nothing new had been found all happened after the beginning of early voting in some states in 2016. Ingi Kontorovic, a professor at George Mason's Antonin Scalia Law School, argued in a piece for Politico in 2014 made the argument with Northwestern University professor John McInnes that early voting is bad and threatens the basic nature of citizen choice. Their case, people who vote early don't have all the information, and late breaking news in the election could potentially cause them to change their minds. He stands by the view, the practical concern is that people are voting on different sets of information as politics become more fast-moving and media becomes more fast-moving. Kontorovic told me, something important comes out late and people who vote early would not be privy to that information. Obama's campaign emphasized early voting in 2008, which gave him an edge over John McCain. In several states typically important in presidential elections, including Florida, Obama lost among voters who vote on election day, the one when early ballots were taken into account. Right after that election, some Republican-controlled state legislatures tried to roll back early voting and otherwise tighten access to the ballot. Florida, Georgia, Ohio, and Tennessee all limited early voting in 2012 compared to 2008, often arguing that the measures were too expensive. Ohio and Nebraska followed suit before the 2016 election. Typically, there would be some sort of version of an argument that uses up local resources that it costs money to keep early voting available, that not a lot of people are using it at a certain time, said Jonathan Brechter, Council for Democracy program at the Brenner Center for Justice, but in his view, those arguments don't often add up. It will reduce the rushing and other things that drain resources on election day. The real motivation, some argued, was partisan, since there's the perception that a method of voting favors the political party, the party being favored by the method wishes to expand the option, and the party that is being disfavored wishes to strengthen or diminish those options, McDonald said. So far, Republicans are outpacing Democrats in early voting, according to initial data. That could change since some states have only opened mail-in voting and haven't started allowing in-person early voting yet. One trend that likely won't alter, though, is early voting's continued growth. More people have voted early than in 2016, even though midterm years typically have lower turnout than presidential elections.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the duration of today's program. Thank you for watching.